Thanks, Paula. Now, as Paula mentioned, I'll be using the Blue Prism Advanced Consolidation Exercise, or ACE for short, for this demonstration. Once a developer has their configuration ready for assessment, which can occur at any time during the development process, they simply log into RoboReview, put in some basic information, and upload their release. And you'll see that RoboReview has broken that down into components, which allows me as a developer to select a subset or all of the release to be reviewed. You'll also see that it has detected the standard Blue Prism utility objects and doesn't include these as part of the review. Then I click Submit, and RoboReview goes to work. And what it's doing is taking that submission, and depending on the size of it, breaks it down into hundreds of parts, and then iterates over every process, object, action, description, exception message, and application model element within that release. And then, and this is the cool bit, it evaluates the submission against over 50 considerations which collectively form current Blue Prism best practice. It will then flag anything that contravenes best practice, provide messages and descriptions on how to fix these findings, and for anything that's questionable as to why it contravenes best practice, it will flag those as warnings and again provide messaging on how they can be resolved. And the real power of RoboReview is that in the time it took me to explain what it was doing, it's already completed the review and emailed me the results. Now, if I quickly look at the report that RoboReview has sent me, you'll see that I have an overall score for my submission, as well as an individual score for my processes and objects. So my process, my create quotes process, has a 63% score, and each of my objects have a 76, a 71, and a 74 respectively. So I think it's fair to say that the ACE requires a little bit of TLC before we introduce it into a production environment. Now, RoboReview identifies all the items that we want a developer to address. It supplies errors and warnings, as well as detailed information on how to fix each one. And what this means is that it's really easy to fix these and quickly move on. Now, RoboReview produces quite a comprehensive report, and I won't have time to take you through everything, but I can give you an idea of the kind of things it contains. What I've done here is click through to the process page, which will allow me to sort of show you some of the considerations we apply at the process level within RoboReview. So we check things like page complexity to make sure that pages are manageable and we're not applying too much logic. This has an impact on scalability because it means that should an update be required to the process in future, a developer knows exactly where to go and doesn't have to comb through 8,000 stages worth of logic. We also check to make sure that exception cases are both handled when they occur and also handled appropriately. So for example, sometimes you want to restart a system as part of a system exception as opposed to just throwing the exception straight away. We also check things such as whether or not retry loops are infinite, which if one of these sneaks into production has the potential to lock up all your runtime resources and cause significant impact. And so RoboReview can pick those up before they get to production and have them removed. And finally, we check things for security. So we check to make sure that there are no hard-coded passwords and that credential manager is being used for your credential store to manage all of those. Now, if I quickly swap over to the object page, I can take you through some of the considerations we have there as well. Typically with objects, we're looking more at the reusability side of things because they are the pieces that are meant to be reusable within each process. So we check for things like making sure we have descriptions and preconditions and postconditions. Seems small, but at a scale program, using a process where you can just look at an object description and plug it in is extremely powerful. We check for stability reasons. We check to make sure that every single action starts with an attached page. That way we can make sure that our objects are always connected to the application. We make sure that business logic that should be in the process doesn't sit within the object level. This is a hugely powerful piece of RoboReview and really has a massive impact on reusability because each object is focused very much on the application. And finally, and again quite similar to process level, we make sure that there aren't any overly complex pages and that the information and actions are very granular, which again leads to reusability because you can just pick them up and plug them in without needing to make change. Another feature of the report is the categorization of all of these considerations into 6 key quality categories, and I'll talk about those a little bit more when we get into analytics in a moment. So as you can see from the reporting and from the warnings and errors that a developer has to go through, the RoboReview report is extremely comprehensive and is designed to be methodically worked through to quickly fix all of the errors that you come across. So this release has been robo-reviewed in just a matter of minutes. Now the same task, if performed by a design authority today, if they could even get to the level of detail the same as RoboReview, would take hours upon hours. Now as we use the tool with our customers and clients, we started thinking, what if we took all of the information from every single review and every single developer and use that to make the tool better? And so we put an analytics engine over the top of it. I'd like to take some time to walk you through our analytics as well. Initially, our focus with analytics was around individuals and their quality scores. As you can see though, we've expanded our analytics to help us understand quality along 6 key dimensions and identify areas of opportunity and weakness. These 6 dimensions are maintainability, which is around documentation and ease of support, manageability, which is about how easy processes are to troubleshoot or enhance, reusability, which is driving standardization and efficiency through object reuse, scalability, which is allowing processes to run at any scale, security, which is about avoiding nasty surprises and making sure we have secure automations, and finally stability, making sure our processes are robust, require minimal support, and work in production. This trend analysis has helped us identify program-wide issues, which allow for targeted training and remediation. Using analytics, you can then measure the impact of this remediation over time and see your processes improving. Another great feature of analytics is you can use it to measure and compare the quality of different suppliers within the same environment. Now obviously there are many different visualizations we can use to compare and contrast the different performance of individuals and teams, but this is what I wanted to show you today. Back to you, Paula.